Hey. Okay. Hello, how are you? My name is Chris Quinlan. Welcome to Melbourne Musos, episode 257. I'm calling this one the Lonely Little Hi-Hat. Okay. Now, for those of you who don't know, who might not be a drummer, this is a hi-hat here. Okay. What it is two cymbals on a hi-hat pedal, and what you have is essentially the bottom cymbal resting on the outer stem and the top cymbal attached to the inner stem. You press it down with the pedal, the top cymbal comes down onto the bottom. Easy. One of the most important pieces of equipment on a drum kit. Now, the hi-hat pedal is a wonderful little thing, and what it does is give you a good solid sense of time. There are times when you're playing something that it's the only one keeping time, especially with some jazz styles, etc. Okay, that's an interesting concept, the only one keeping time. What I actually mean is that it might be giving you a solid sense of rhythm while you're improvising on that rhythm over the top. That's the idea. Now let me take you through a couple of different things with the hi-hat and some of the things that I work on to maintain, hopefully, an even sense of time, groove, flow, everything, okay? Now, the opening solo, what I was doing was a little thing called splash hats, okay? Let me go down to hi-hat cam. There it is on this side. Don't worry about this one, this side here. Now, if you have a look, I hit the pedal with the heel, come back with the toe. Heel, toe, heel, toe. Okay? And I build that up as much as I can. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Get the idea? And then what you do with that is, of course, you know, improvise with it, do different things. What I'll do is I'll go to overhead cam, hello, and essentially start with that. Okay, so here we go. All right, so you see what's going on there. And then what I'm going to do is just tap the right hand with that. See what's going on? Bring in the left hand. These are 16th notes. Now I'm going to put the right hand around the drums. Could you see that my left hand was doing little different things like accents and double taps and stuff like that, okay? The whole thing underpinning it, of course, was the Lonely Little hi-hat over here. Okay, so that's the hi-hat there. Playing essentially eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Get the idea? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Giving me a solid sense of time. Now the opening solo that I was playing, and for this I'll move to this cam here. I was playing this. Once again, right hand, this time on the floor tom. And then essentially it's a rock beat from there. Okay, so there you have it. And what that is a rock beat. I'm essentially playing this, right? So on. And moving the right hand from the hi-hat to the floor tom. Okay, so at the bass drum. Now, that's a nifty little rhythm within itself, but if I put in the little splash hat idea of heel, toe, it really gives it a bit of pep. And there you have it, you see. And moving over to this cam, what you can do is, lots of different ideas based on that kind of premise. Now, remembering that it's quavers, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Don't forget it could be anything. It could be crotchets or whatever you feel like, but in this particular instance, I'm calling them quavers, okay? Now, I'll move to boot cam. And if I've got the quavers happening here, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, now I'm not splashing at this stage. And what I'm going to do now is put the right foot in between. I'll slow that down. Left, right, 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 left, right. Now, with this, because the quavers are on the hi-hat, okay, I'm adding the bass drum on the E's and R's, being semi-quavers. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Get the idea? Now, if I put the floor tom, I'll go to overhead cam now. If I put the floor tom on the hi-hat, so it's like this. Okay, what I get then is a 16th note pattern like so when I add the bass drum. I don't know why I just did that. Sorry about that. Rush of blood to the head. So what you've got then is a 16th note pattern, which is quite heavy. One would think normally it's 2 bass drum stuff, like, but it's not. It's got a hi-hat there, and it's great for any players out there with a single pedal, because it's like you have a double bass drum when you haven't got a double bass drum. I've explained that in the past, but the actual thing is it's underpinned or anchored by the hi-hat. So you can get a nice little quasi kind of double bass drum sound with only one bass drum happening, like this. Now what I'll do is I'll actually go to underground cam and show you what's happening with the feet. Okay, so here's the same thing again. Actually, no, what I'll do is I'll go to scan mode, is what I will do. Here we are. Here it goes. Well, there you go. So that's what's going on. And can you see that what I'm doing here is 16th notes with the feet with a left foot start because it's the hi-hat. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. You're getting that going. And then what goes on with that is that I put my right hand on a floor tom and I get this sort of heavy kind of sound. Then what I can do is going back to underground cam, put the splashes in the same way. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. I'll do that very slowly. Okay, here we go. So it's 1 E and a 2. Oh, God help me. 1 E and a 2 E and sorry about that. I've put myself off. Get the idea there? So you get that. That's what it is. Sorry about that. And then what happens then, I'll keep it to that angle, and I'll put the whole thing together with the splash hats now. Look at this. Like that, see? There you have it, you see? That's just a very quick sort of little introduction to that kind of thing. So that's a little something on the hi-hats, both with what we call splash hats, when you splash it and then close it with the foot. It's not an open hi-hat in the sense that you're hitting it with the hand like the standard open hi-hat would be. Like that. You're actually opening it, hitting it, closing it again. That's the mechanics of a typical open hi-hat. I call these ones splash hats because you're literally hitting the pedal with your foot, okay, and creating the splash and then coming back with the ball of your foot to actually give it its closed sound, okay? So get something out of that and work on that kind of thing. And what I'll do now is come back after the break and show you a few more ideas with this lonely little hi-hat here. Oh. 1, a 2, a 1, 2. Okay, what was all that about? Okay, fairly free in concept there. It would be pretty much, you would be forgiven for thinking it would be pretty much a bit of a schmozzle if I didn't have the lonely little hi-hat on 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. What it's doing is creating a backbone for me. so I can get pretty out there. There was the one. See, because what I've got there, and for this I'll actually move to foot cam, is actually two movements. This is called the heel-toe technique. Now, I'm exaggerating the heel. I'm actually making it click against the pedal. Heel-toe, 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 heel-toe. See that? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what you've got is the heel has 1 and 3, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that. So as I keep on going, what goes on is that I've just planted my left foot into a way of just keeping time while I can talk over it. In this particular instance for the show, I can also play over it and essentially have it on automatic. Set it and forget it, so it's a good groove. Gary Chaffee is a famous American drummer slash teacher slash educator, and he talks of this in a jazz context as semi-broken time, meaning that essentially you're playing, say, contemporary jazz very freely, but the hi-hat's left for the rest of the band, so to speak, on 2 and 4. That's what's happening here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can come back to it any time I like, and it's still hopefully providing me a solid basis and hopefully a good groove. That's what I'm doing here, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. I like that cymbal. I hit it a lot. Okay, so that's the idea there. Get it? That's your hi-hat there. All right? So what it's all about is lonely little hi-hat. The reason I call it a lonely little hi-hat, because it's like the remaining 3 limbs are out having a bit of a party, and lonely little hi-hat's left at home, you know, just being solid on the backbeat, knitting away, little Carlton sweater for the next home and away game. And what you've got, I just lost myself there for a sec, but basically what it is keeping you in time, in rhythm. Okay, so there's something there. Now what I would like to do is actually go to my grade 5 book, funnily enough, and really talk about hi-hats creating a fair whack of colour. I'm going to play solo 3 from my grade 5 drum set manual, and what it is it creates open hi-hat sounds. What you're doing there is as you hit the cymbal, the hi-hat cymbal, you actually come down with the bass drum and up with the hi-hat. So it's that kind of idea there. You would learn that in a driving lesson, you know, accelerator down, clutch out, or clutch down, accelerator off, you know, that kind of thing there. Okay, so it's not hard for people who have a manual car, so to speak. Okay, so here we go, solo 3 to give you a bit of a demonstration on an open hi-hat sound for colour. Okay, here we go. Okay, that was it. That was Solo 3, open hi-hats from my grade 5 drum set manual. And what it deals with is not so much the lonely little hi-hat keeping time, creating colour in this instance. So you're actually sort of, treating that kind of idea. So that is a great little effect, for making basic rock beats not quite so basic. If I just sort of played just a normal little thing. Okay, you got that idea. Bit more colour by keeping it open. Okay, a bit disco-y. So you see what I'm doing here. See, what's going on is various colour on a normal rock beat. That was called a mistake. Sorry about that. So, I hope you get something out of this show. It's episode 257, the lonely little hi-hat. Okay, what it's all about is a couple of little techniques that you can do on the hi-hat to really pep up your rock beats. Also, creating and maintaining a solid sense of time and groove by utilising certain kinds of techniques. Now, there's two main techniques. There's heel-toe method, which I've explained, and there's also the toe method, which is just constantly playing, which is great for quavers. Now, onwards from the toe technique is this little splash hat technique, which I've specialised in tonight, which is heel-toe very quickly, but splash hat, splash hat, splash hat, splash hat. Charge it. It could be the other way around if you want. And solos based on those ideas. Okay, so it gives you a good solid grounding in time, and the reason I've called it lonely little hi-hat is because it's by keeping a solid sense of time, it's the only one not having fun. Okay, you can go pretty crazy over the top of it once you've got that solid basis. That's what I'm getting at. Okay, and now it's time to wrap the show up. As I said, it's episode 257 of Melbourne Musos. If you want to contact me, it's melbournemusos@hotmail.com for the emailers.